So, how you going? How's your morning going?
Good. How are you?
Really good, actually. Very excited to be here. Really excited. So I can dump my stuff in afterwards.
Okay.
So, first time in Hamilton?
My first time in Hamilton.
How are you finding it?
Oh, you know, the people are lovely, and like everything's like really central, and it's great.
It's a brilliant little place.
It really is. It really. But you know, it's like all of New Zealand. I mean, the people are so friendly, and it's just I just love this part of the world.
How often do you get down here?
I usually, I think for the last decade or so, I've pretty much come kind of every other year, maybe so every 2 years or so, yeah.
And it's pretty much all on the back of Stargate.
Absolutely, absolutely.
When you first started Stargate, did you think it would be as big as it got to?
Oh God, you know, well, I mean, no one could ever really foresee like how big a show and how well a show does. I mean, we knew that we would have a shot at it because we went into it knowing that we were going to do 44 episodes, 2 years, which obviously in the state of the business now, that never happens anymore. So we knew as long as we were good, decent, that we would be on the air long enough for people to discover us, find us, and all that. So, yeah. Absolutely, I absolutely was, and you know, when I auditioned, I had no idea how big, how small a part Teal'c would play in it. So, you know, it was a great surprise that you know, he became, you know, a central part of the show.
I've heard rumors as well that they're looking at going back and doing another couple of films in the movie universe.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be keen on a part in something like that? Just sort of a meaty week?
Well, you know, I actually played golf with Dean Devlin's assistant, and I don't think he has any. He and Emmerich, you know, at first were very critical of the show, and I'm not sure it was actually about the show. I think it was more about their relationship with MGM, and I actually heard that he was actually quite complimentary, you know, later in our run. But it would be. It would be difficult, I think. I mean, you know, of course I'd be willing to talk about it, but I'm not sure if that would be okay with the folks who did the TV series, because you know, I know that their relationship wasn't great. Yeah.
So other than Stargate, you've got a couple of other fairly sizable credits to your name. Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
Working with something like this now?
You know, it was daunting. Well, the audition process for that was kind of something that I had never really kind of gone through. I think I went in a total of 7 times, and 4 times were with Chris. And so we had started negotiating my deal, and then they had kind of redone the part, so I had to go back in, and then we started negotiating my deal again. And then for my last audition, I got a call and from my manager, and said, "Well, Chris wants to see you again." I said, "Well, you're already negotiating the deal. Like what?" And they literally said, he wants to see you do it with an Eastern European accent. And as a black man, that's something that you rarely get. So I stayed up all night, literally, and broke down Putin's speech to the Olympic Committee, which is one of the drier speeches that but I broke my sides down phonetically from that, and literally went in with no sleep and got it. But I understand why you have to do things like that, because he will come up with things he will just think of scenes right there. And so he wants to know that whoever he hires can do whatever he may come up with. So once I was on set, I understood why he wanted that.
What's he like to work with as a director?
Wow, it's like I've never. One of the things that in TV, like, it's very kind of specific. You make quick choices. You go, and you know it's constantly you're being validated. There's a lot of validation in TV. You know, you get great, moving on. You get great. With Nolan, you kind of because he just tells you what he wants and he lets you go, and so you just move on. And there's not a whole lot of like patting you on the back and stuff like that. And I actually asked Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I was like, how do you know if you've done a good job? Like, how do you? Because he kind of just moves on, and he's like, you kind of never do.
Oh, wow. That must be a bit frustrating, though, isn't it?
It's not frustrating, but you're not used to that amount of freedom where it's just he kind of just believes whatever you've done that's what you do, and that you're self-sufficient, and that's why he hired you. You know, so it's great but scary at the same time. So.
I can imagine. So you've obviously worked with big names like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and when you started with Stargate, people like Richard Dean Anderson. That wasn't your first experience with Richard Dean Anderson, though.
No, I did a MacGyver. Well, MacGyver's kind of one of those shows. If you go back, because it was on for so long, and there were so few shows. Like back then, there was only 3 networks. Yeah. So, pretty much, if you were a young actor, an actor, forget young. And you were working, you did a MacGyver. Yeah. There's shows like that, like before that, like maybe a Miami Vice, maybe, you know, those staple shows that were long, that if you were acting, you did them. So I actually asked Rick if he remembered me, and of course he said yes. He for sure did not remember me.
See, I remember I interviewed Amanda Tapping a couple of years ago when she was over here, and she said she remembers going for a walk with them around the lake, somewhere where you guys were filming.
Oh, Stanley Park, maybe?
Possibly, yeah. And there was a van load of people that just, MacGyver!
Yeah.
So did you get a lot of that when you were working with them?
One of the most frustrating things about the first couple of years of Stargate was the only question that we had a running joke where it was MacGyver and you 3.
Oh, wow.
And the only question that we would really get was, what's it like working with Richard Dean Anderson? For the first few years of the show, you know, and Rick loved it, of course, and we had fun with it, but it really was this. But that's also what allowed us, I think, besides how great the show was, it really brought eyeballs. The fact that Rick was doing another show, you know, so. It was great on one hand, but as someone who was trying to make their own career, at that part of it was a little frustrating in the beginning. But we just learned to embrace it, and you know, he was a great guy to work with. You know.
So what's next?
Oh, I had to go back and be a dad for a while, so I've stayed away from TV. But I've got I think 6 movies coming out this year.
Oh, wow.
I've kind of been easing back into it now that my oldest daughter is off to college, which was my goal. I had to get my youngest son and my oldest daughter off to college. Now I've got a 6-year break before my next one's in high school. So I'm kind of rebooting up my career, and you know, I've got like LA Apocalypse coming out. I've got Lowlifes that I did with Boo Boo Stewart and Quentin Aaron. I got a Tiger's Tail coming out. Reaper that I did with Danny Trejo and Vinnie Jones. So yeah, I've got a whole ton of stuff coming out, and we're ramping up a big new splashy sci-fi extravaganza. It's tentatively titled Sentinels, which I think we're going to change because I think the
Little 2 X-Men?
Well, it's not X-Men, but they do use as the antagonist are called Sentinels. So I think we're gonna change that now that we know that. So, but it is truly. I mean, everyone that's seen it, heard about it, that's actually read it. I mean, it is the kind of the next big franchisee type deal. So, yeah, we're very excited about it.
It's after you finish your holiday here.
After I finish my holiday here, yes.
And I'm taking you down to Wellington next week.
Yes, sir. Yes, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
Got a meeting lined up with Sir Peter?
Well. There's something I can't really talk about, but I do have a very important meeting down there. Yes.
All right. Well, I better leave you to it. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you. Hey, cheers. Pleasure.